So this may be intellectually understood, it may be thought about, and you can come to an agreement maybe, and hundreds of people have talked to me before probably now, like, yeah, I get this. I can see there's no self, or I can see or agree that there's no separation, oneness is all there is, and really that's just like another thought, like I like the colour blue, or my name is Matt, or whatever. But it's not felt as direct experience. It's not permeated the body, the senses, the way we relate to the world. It's still in thought. It's not peace. It's not truth seen without something that's beyond the eye. It's something that is moment to moment. And the lack of separation, the lack of self is not just a thought, it's feeling. You could call it feeling, but that doesn't really give it justice. It's more what's not there anymore. So how to I was about to say how to get here, and it's not really getting here, but even that is not doing it justice. But we have to use language. So how to allow this to permeate experience. And I could give you hundreds of inquiries into each sense gate, and they're all online. And to be honest, I'll give you the most important one in my opinion, which allows us to permeate the body, the sense of no self. Because once we've turned away from experience and we've seen, I can't find myself anywhere in thought, identity is seen to be just reality, identifying with certain stories. And we come back to the body, and the body still feels like it's separate from the rest of the room, maybe. Maybe it even feels like it has an age. The sensations feel like they have a border, and we feel separate, and we can say wholeness, we can say there's no self, but then we go out into the world and we walk down the street and we feel like we are walking down a street which is separate to us. We are interfering with world, and we feel like we're having some sort of control, maybe even, and we talk to others and we see them even as separate selves, as the illusion comes up again. So here's the one inquiry. Where is this sense of separation at? Where is it born? And if I can only speak from my experience, I don't need you to agree. You can just see it in your own experience. But for me, it was the bodily sensations. I was also taught, and I saw for myself, the bodily sensations almost give rise to the rest of this illusion. We identify with these sensations in the body, almost in the center of this kind of experience, and we, for some reason, disregard the visual field as us. We almost say no to everything that isn't us, such as the distant sounds and this. But this bodily sensations in the middle appear just on the same playing field as everything else. Not only do we have no evidence that we are these sensations in the middle of this whole screen, but also, even if we did identify with these sensations in the body, even the sound of my voice, my character could say, this is me, my voice, and mine. But also that there's no boundary to these sensations. So if you were to then say, no, I still identify with these sensations on the screen, I would say to you, find a boundary to where these sensations end. Find a boundary to yourself. Even if we start on a scientific experiment, we can look at the skin. We say, well, I am inside the skin, but the skin is shedding constantly. The hair is growing. There is just this constant cycle. So already the foundations are crumbling of where we're located, who we are, because this is constantly in a state of impermanence. It's just so slow that we don't see it. Whereas if you look at a plant, it's constant, and we can say, there's no inherent thing in that plant. It's just lifing. But no, let's come back to inquiry. When you're going around your day, so we can start with that. That's even almost another thought. I can't be in the skin because it's constantly shedding, and where would I be in all of this? Well, now we then close our eyes, for example, and we still feel separate. The sensations are really sometimes solid. They feel dense and located and separate from the rest of the room. So then we look for this boundary that is supposed to have a thick paint line around it, and we stop and we end. But It's what we don't find which liberates us. We don't find a boundary. We don't find a sense of self in these sensations. We don't find this closed off, almost like a tent, as if we're on the inside of the tent and the other side of the skin is life that we're not a part of. But we can never find this thin edge. We can only find a thought, a feeling that it's there. But you go out looking with your torch, your spotlight, and you can't find this. Well, I've never found a boundary to anything. And that's emptiness as well. This empty of self, empty of any kind of inherent existence. We think of ourselves as dense, and this is dense objects that have separation, that is separate from the all, and that is the fundamental root of suffering, this subject-object. So I've just given you, I would say, the most potent inquiry that can look into this sense of being located inside a body separate from the rest, with sensations which limit you to here. If you actually go into sensations, especially if you close your eyes, and you were to try and draw these sensations on a piece of paper, because we're taught so young that we are these sensations and we're limited to them. But without this thought, if we were never be told this, to live on a desert island that never taught you this, you would never feel separate in that sense. It all depends on your conditioning. There may be other ways you can feel separate, but the main, in my opinion, the main illusion is this sense in the body, that the body is separate. We really feel we have to protect this. And when you don't feel like you have to protect anything because there's no existence to it, there's no density to it, then liberation is there revealed, always as it was. It's not that we're liberating ourselves, we're just seeing that the body's never been separate, the body's never been inherently existed, or in inherent existence. And yeah, this may be a shock, and we're like, I can't find myself in any of this, there's no separation, and this is becoming direct experience, and then the mind starts up again. But this is because there's been decades of feeling like these sensations, feeling like these dense, solid identities. But this washes out over time. This is like a train with momentum. We've cut the fuel of feeling like this, but it goes on. The fire keeps burning. Just let it burn to the ground. Let it keep in your experience, no boundaries, no identity anywhere in these sensations. And that is a great place to start for inquiry into sensations. Then you've got the visual field. I'm coming out with guided meditation soon. I'm going to do it all properly, so it's not just rushed, and it's going to have a proper production and everything. So it's it's good quality. But then you can go into the visual field, finding any kind of witness in the visual field, any kind of distance. Everything appears at the same distance from yourself. There's the sounds. Trying to find a boundary between bodily sensations, sounds, visual field is where are you in all of this? This is what it comes down to. It's almost like the secret inquiries that people that don't want to face, that this is where all the fears are hidden, all the resistances, and we allow them to percolate up. It's really a direct approach into looking for this self, this identity, this separation. So yeah, round up, stay in the bodily sensations for this. Look for boundaries, look for a sense of self, any kind of evidence of a self in these sensations. Look for a border between any of these sensations, be it the body, the rest of the visuals, the sounds, anything. Any kind of age you can find. Can you find evidence for any kind of distance even between you and the bodily sensations? Where do you start and where do the bodily sensations end? Contact points is a good phrase. Look for a contact point anywhere. Borders, contact points. I can just keep saying words, but hopefully it sticks. So yeah, just have fun with it, be curious with it, don't use it with an agenda. Just look for yourself for any separation that's already not there. You'll see that it never was separate, but we have to look, and in not finding anything, we see that. We see it that was never the case.